In a world where human trafficking persists as a grave injustice, there shines a beacon of hope, a force for change. Eden is on a mission to amplify the voices that matter most, the voices of those leading the charge against trafficking. Join us as we dive deep into the lives and struggles of inspiring leaders from anti-trafficking organizations around the world. You'll hear their stories, their battles, and their unwavering determination to bring light into the darkest corners. This is Eden. Welcome to the very first Eden podcast. As you can see, I'm not alone. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not watching, you're just listening, there's three lovely people sitting next to me. We are the founders of Eden. You may be listening to this and you've never heard of Eden. Like, what is Eden? What are we all about? We want to tell you all that, tell you how we got started. But first, again, my name is Brandon Farr. I'm happily married. My beautiful wife who's sitting next to me, her name's Nicole. We have 3 kids, 8, 6, and 4, and 2 boys, 1 girl. I work in post-production. My wife and I also invest in real estate. Yeah, we're just passionate about finding ways to create freedom for people or maybe in a situation where they feel like they can't get it.
Hi all, Nicole Farr here. I am a business development manager in the natural products industry, and my hobby, my love is real estate. This is just right up our alley. God's really allowed us to use the gifts that He's already given us in order to hopefully impact the world for some amazing things.
My name is Juan Garcia. I work in banking, in risk management. I'm a father of 17 children. Actually, as I think about it, it's actually only 2, but they're so awesome that they feel like 17. And I'm married to Leslie, who's right here at my side. We're excited about the work that we're doing and sharing it with you guys and letting you know how you can participate in the transformative work that we're all about.
Hi, I'm Leslie. As he said, I'm married to Juan. I have the same 2 kids. I work as an operations pastor at a church, and so I'm all the details. I like a good spreadsheet. I like to look at numbers. So I'm that person here too. I'm just excited to be part of the team and to see what we can do to make a difference in the world in an area that we really think needs a difference made.
And we also have a small investment portfolio in real estate.
Nicole, why don't you tell the people that are listening about what Eden is and who we are and what we do.
Eden is somewhat of a unique nonprofit. What we aim to do is to create resource. And how we do that is, first, we raise donations. 100% of those donations are used for the purchase or the rehab of a property. Second, that property becomes a rental. And then all of the profit from that rental then goes to help support anti-trafficking organizations locally as well as globally. And so our goal is to create ongoing resource, because these anti-trafficking nonprofits are oftentimes spending a great deal of their time just raising funds in order to survive, and then in the end getting to do the work that they were meant to do.
So when you say buying properties, are they for like survivors to live in, or?
People get the misunderstanding that we're housing victims. We are not housing victims. What we are creating is an economic resource so that we can generate more funds. So those original donations, they are put into a property. They're growing in equity, but they are also producing monthly income to help run Eden as well as support the cause.
That's what we are. And as we continue talking, you'll hear a little bit more about what we're doing. The way we got started is when I say we, the 3 of us here, Juan, Leslie, and me, went on a service trip to Pattaya, Thailand, which is considered the sex trafficking capital of the world. And we went to support an organization there called Sheer Love, run by a really good friend of ours, Diana Batista. Did I say that last name right?
Diana Batista.
Batista. Sorry, Diana, I love you. I got it right. We went out there and we were just blown away with the work they were doing out there. And so what they do, they go to the bars, they have conversations with the women and the men, because both women and men are trafficked. They go have conversations with them, try to build relationships with them. And once they feel like they built a good enough relationships, they tell them, hey, we have an opportunity for you to get out if you want to. Not everybody wants to. Some people want to stay, and that's okay. But the people that want to get out, they give them an opportunity. They get them out and they pay for their schooling, their housing. If they have like kids, they take care of their kids. They give them job skills. For men, it's usually barbering, and then for women, it's usually cosmetology, so hair and makeup. And they teach them how to talk in an interview. If they decide to open their own studio or whatever in the future, they learn those skills as well. And it's like a 6 month to a year process, I believe, for them to go through the whole. So then they're everything's paid for, so they don't have to worry about anything. Such an awesome organization. But when we were there, we were helping with that. Three of us were also just kind of overwhelmed by the enormity of what was going on there. Juan, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I was there. I'm not going to say I was there by accident, but I would not say that I had a great passion for anti-trafficking work. I mean, I knew anti-trafficking existed. I had no idea of the scope. And the reason I was on this trip is simply because somebody had backed out as being part of the group that would lead that team. So I was asked and I said, sure, why not? And as I think back, I was more of a anti-trafficking tourist. I was really more interested, like, this will be interesting to see
What's happening?
Anti-trafficking
Right.
work is about, what's
Right.
happening. That was my attitude going in. And I figured, I'll do good work. It'll be okay, right? But I get to Pattaya, Thailand, and I did not have any idea the depth of the problem, nor the depth of the despair that existed. And it changed my life. I saw a reality that I did not know existed. One day at breakfast, we had been there several days, and it was nonstop work. I mean, it was nonstop work. One morning I wake up, we're having breakfast, Leslie and I are at breakfast, and she ran to the room to go get something. I don't even know what it was. And the depth of the despair hit me there at breakfast, and I was inconsolable for a long time. And it's almost like I had wished I had never seen this.
Yeah.
And then one night, Brandon, you and I were at this rooftop,
Yeah.
and the number of sex workers, I was told later that it was likely in that district that we were in, 1,600 sex workers.
Yeah.
And I walked away from that night, I think it was the second to the last night that we were there, and I thought, I have nothing to give here. I have nothing to add, because it hit me very clearly that this is an economic problem, that if even if we were able to eradicate overnight sex work in this city, we would probably be responsible for the death of people, because we would have choked the very financial livelihood of everyone in this city.
Right.
And I walked away thinking, okay, there's nothing for me to do here. And I've seen something that maybe I would have been better off not having seen, because now it kept nagging me like, there's this much oppression in the world. Look, I'm a pretty privileged American, and I'd like to think that I'm uber conscious, and it turns out I'm not.
Yeah.
And it just kept nagging me, though, that there's this much oppression in the world, and there's nothing for me to do, but then there was also this craving for me to do something. And it was tough. I mean, I came back and it was a long 20-hour flight home.
Yeah.
It's a long 20-hour flight home. That's a true statement.
I completely agree with you, Juan. I feel like I've always had this kind of heart for doing this work, so I went differently. I went like excited about going, but I was overwhelmed by the amount of it. And one of the things that we all kind of realized was while we were there was like the work that Sheer Love is doing is amazing, and they're doing such good work out there, and we're so excited. But there's so much to be done, and it almost became a little bit depressing, because we're like, what are we gonna do? How do we? I mean, I get it. Again, one person saved is enough. Like it's worth it. But how do we approach the economic issue here? That was what was ruminating in our heads and our minds as we were kind of leaving. What about you, Leslie? What was your experience?
And I was overwhelmed by all the things the guys already said. I mean, it's an overwhelming experience. The night that I think really hit me the hardest is we were sitting on the beach. We had worked all day. We were eating food, and I was talking to Diana, And I was just asking her questions about herself. And that's when she told me that she writes letters to get funding for people to support her to be there so she could do this work. Because we're thinking, like, what do you do? Well, she's doing it. But then I realized that she has to earn her own money some other way so she can do this. So the one, like these people that have decided to give their lives to this are financially struggling. They're not, like you and I, we go to work every day, we get a paycheck, we live our lives, we put some money in retirement, we invest in real estate, we set ourselves up, we go to Thailand sometimes and help. But the person who's there on the ground, I was like, it hurt, my stomach hurt when she told me that. Yeah. So you don't have a retirement plan, you don't have income. And at that point, she had moved out of her apartment into the upstairs of the school because she couldn't afford her rent. Yeah. And I was just like, that's unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable that a person who's given their life to this doesn't know how they're going to pay their rent when they're doing the thing that really most of us don't want to go do. Yeah. Honestly, we don't want to give up our whole life to go do it. It made me physically ill. I was like, that's horrible. So how, that's just, so I'm like, we just added a problem on top of a problem. Right. It's just a problem on top of a problem. I couldn't shake that. Yeah. I really couldn't shake it. I was like, it's like overwhelming. I thought, because my wife and I, by the way, Nicole would have been there. She was actually supposed to go, but then she got pregnant with our kid. I know. How dare you, baby? I was on a beach and I was thinking, like, my wife and I, because we have residual income, we have cash flow coming in, we could kind of drop everything if we wanted to, move our family out to Thailand and do this work full time and not have to worry about support. We could just do it based off of the residual income that we're getting from the properties that we invested in. And I thought, man, what if we could do that for other people? Like, that's kind of how this idea kind of started. And it started there, but we had no idea. Like, I didn't really know anything about the nonprofit sector. I didn't even know if you were allowed to make money as a nonprofit. Because you're like, well, you're not nonprofit, so you're not supposed to make any profit, right? You just give all, And so, like, how does that work? Are you allowed to own property? I didn't know. So we came back from that trip and we started having the conversation. And Juan and Leslie being dear friends of ours, and just knowing their expertise investing in themselves. So started having a conversation with them, and we thought, hey, would you guys be into like trying to get this going? And they said, yeah, sure. We're business people, but we don't know anything in nonprofit. So how do we start a nonprofit? I don't know. My wife goes to a Starbucks one day and I was working from her computer or whatever. Overhears a conversation of these two people, and this guy's talking about starting a nonprofit. Sounds like he knows what he's doing. So she slides her car over to him, and just so happens this guy, this is what he does. He helps people start nonprofit. And me, being the cynical person I am, sometimes I thought, oh, well, this guy wants to charge. He's going to charge us like triple what it costs to do it. No, actually, it was cheaper. Like, he got it done for us that if we would have done it ourselves, it would have been a couple $100 more. So it was just like one thing after another. I don't know what you want to call it, providential, destiny, whatever it is. Like, God opened the doors for us. It was like, here you go. This is what you guys are going to do. And then what really got us excited was we kept telling people about Eden and the idea that we had. And people were like, wow, I've never heard that before. We're like, yeah, us either. And I went on a search. I still, to this day, haven't found anybody that's doing anything like this. We had a vision casting. Invited 30 to 40 of our friends, people that we knew that were influential, people that we knew that we could trust. And we said, hey, what do you guys think? We're not trying to raise money. We just want to know your feedback. And we got really good feedback. And we also got $70,000. Not even, we did, again, literally told them we're not asking for money yet. And we walked away from that with $70,000. So we thought, wow, right now we own a property. We own two properties, but we own one property that is cash flowing and is supporting Sheer Love. And then we just bought a second property that we bought, and we in the middle of rehab. We're raising money for rehab to finish, but that is actually going to be supporting an organization in the United States. So we're really excited about that because that's going to be in the United States. It's going to be in Dayton. The organization is called Oasis House. It's ran by a lovely lady named Donna.
Nicole, tell her the story about Donna.
It was really beautiful. So at first, Brandon was reaching out to different organizations and he spoke with Donna. And of course, she was a little apprehensive at first, like, who is this? What are you doing? You want to come out and meet with me? Totally understandable. But we were able to go out and meet with her. We brought her to the house that we had purchased, and we just shared our vision with her and listened to her stories about the work that they're doing out there in Dayton. And after seeing the house, we had given her a pre-gift before the house actually gets up and producing. We wanted to give her a small gift. And after hearing what it is that we were up to and our goal of creating ongoing resource to help support the work that they are doing out in the field, she came to me and she said, "Can I give this back? Because I want this house to get fixed sooner." And we explained, "Oh, it's 2 different buckets. This is the donation bucket, so don't worry, you take that." And that really got me excited because she understood what we were up to, and she was like so thankful for the support that she was like, "Yeah, I want to be behind that. Like, I know what you guys are doing. You guys are here to help us to do the work we were meant to do."
And this is where I got excited. I mean, we love Brandon and Nicole. I love Brandon and Nicole. I know Leslie loves Brandon and Nicole. And for me, what started happening is I thought, oh, just like Diana in Thailand with sheer love, she knew the beauty industry. She knew cutting hair. I mean, she did it at a very high level, and she used that skill and leveraged it to freedom.
Yeah.
And I got excited when I thought, oh my gosh, here's a person, and the people doing this work in a lot of ways are destituting themselves to do the work.
Yeah.
And I thought, wait a minute, the 4 of us have operationally and marketing skills and business skills. And look, I knew for a fact that we had the skill set amongst the 4 of us to start a business.
Yeah.
And then I got excited because what if we can create the economic engine, the financial engine, the financing engine, so that people could do this work. But not only do the work, do it in a way that's sustainable, meaning that they're getting paid a good salary, a reasonable salary, a competitive salary, where there could be benefits like saving enough money for retirement so that it could actually be a sustainable way for them to pour their lives into it.
Yeah.
And that's where I started getting excited because I thought, because we had been talking about, what did we start some kind of business, whatever, and then I think it was probably Nicole who said, well, duh, we already know the space.
Right.
We already know the space. Why go into another space? I said, brilliant. And I got excited because holy cow, man, we can create a business that's generating profit and that our stakeholders are the people doing the work. Because I can tell you, I have the ability to do anti-trafficking work for about 10-day stints.
Yeah.
It's a special person.
It's a special work.
Right.
I can do it 10 days at a time.
Right.
However, man, more than that, it takes a really deep emotional toll
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah.
But I thought we could do this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it seemed like, you know what? Even if the world is going to hell in a handbasket, we can do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can do this.
Yeah.
We can shed some light. We can do something.
Yeah, that's good. I have a little bit different than Juan. Just full disclosure, like when we started this, one of the things that I realized, like my heart is like, I want to be on the front lines with those people. I wanted to be the people that were going in, bashing doors down and getting the people out, kind of like you see in the movies and stuff. And I was a little, like when we first started this, it's like I was realizing, oh, we're not really doing that. We're supporting the people that are doing that. And while we were in Thailand, one of the experiences that I had, this is going to take a little time, but one of the experiences we had is Juan and I, because we were men, we didn't know this. This was just kind of thrown on us. We were like, they said, hey guys, you're not going to be able to, we don't want men going into the bars and talking to the women because that just looks bad, right? So they usually have women go and the women have conversations with the women. But we want you guys to go to the gay bars and talk to the men, which that's fine. But I just was like, wow, okay, this is what we're doing. I have never been in a situation like that. And so I never forget having this experience where talking to this guy, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's trying, he's flirting with me. He's doing these things that he's trying to do because he wants, this is part of his job. And I was so uncomfortable because I've never been around that before. And I remember at one point he looked at me and he said, "Is everything okay?" And something inside me I was just melted. And I said, "You know what? I don't care. I'm tired of worrying about myself. I'm just going to be here and be in the conversation." And from that moment on, everything changed. And I was just having a great conversation with him. I had fun. We had fun. We talked. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And seeing him even changing and hearing the stories from people, not just him, but like other women and men who were in that situation and now are out. Seeing and hearing the stories is so powerful because you see like physically and emotionally there's like a change in their body that and there's just like now there's hope for something beautiful, something better than what their situation was before, right? And that pumps me up. I get super excited about that. And so again, going back to this idea of like, well, I don't get to experience that because I'm supporting people that get to experience that. Well, I actually get to experience that because seeing the expression on Diana's face or Donna's face, seeing like, wow, like one of my favorite questions that I get to ask the people that are running this, like, if you could have anything you wanted, dream big, what would it be? We have the opportunity to supply that for them. Sometimes it's like, well, there's this land across the street that I would love to have because if we can build something there, we can like 10x our, what our schooling or helping people get out or whatever. And their faces and everything lights up the same way that it does when I talk to somebody that's now obviously two different scenarios, but the hope and the dream and everything is the same, right? It's like, oh, there's something bigger. I can be a part of something bigger. And that's what I'm excited about because that's what people like you and the people that are supporting us, that's what you guys get to do. You're a part of that. You create abundance for the people that are working the front lines. Those people, I can tell you, I can promise you, those people, again, a different type of trauma than the people that they're supporting. I'm not trying to compare them, but they do experience trauma. A lot of these people on the front lines, they're going day in, 12 hours a day, and they're hearing these stories and they're seeing this. And a lot of times these people are young people that are doing this. And they, at the same time, they're sweating over if they're going to get $120 checks or $50 checks or whatever it is, so they can live and have their meal, right? As they're working to get people out of human trafficking.
As we were in Thailand, one of the things that struck us really, like we were not expecting, is the trauma that the team experienced. And when we were there, we happened to take two psychiatrists with us. And when we got there, they're like, "You have psychiatrists?" Psychologists, I don't know, whichever they are. But we readjusted our whole week to do group therapy with the team that was there. And so one of the things that's really important to Eden is that we not only supply money to organizations, but we do leadership training. We have resources to provide financial training. We have resources to provide psychological help for them. And so these are like little things that we have found are super, super important for the workers. So in addition to providing financial resources, we want to provide other resources, personal counseling resources, training resources, and things like that. So those are all things that are very important to us as in addition to just financial, giving them money.
And that, Nicole, maybe you want to speak about our pillars because I think that's a great entree to that.
I mean, we have 3 pillars within Eden. One is financial security, and then we also have structural integrity, and then personal fortitude. So I think what Leslie was kind of describing right there is, in the business world, consulting is a common practice. I mean, you have issues where there's leakage, you bring in a consultant, and whether it's in IT or it's in personnel or it's in finance, that's where you go. But for an organization that's bringing in $20 to $30 checks every month, that is definitely something that is on the back burner. With Eden, we're bringing in the resource to say, hey, let's make this engine run as powerful, as smoothly as possible so that you guys can make the biggest impact and get people out of exploitation. And so a lot of times we're looking at the things that are sight unseen. We're making sure that the people are taken care of. That personal fortitude that Leslie was talking about for just that vicarious trauma. I mean, it's bigger than you realize.
Yeah.
People burn out if you don't take care of your people. I mean, you're probably in the workforce somewhere and you realize when you're overworked or when you've taken on too much emotionally, physically, it is draining. You just want to get out of there. We don't want those frontline workers escaping because they can't go anymore. We want to support them. That's what Eden's really about, allowing these organizations to have the most effective and biggest impact as possible.
Yeah, that's good. The thing that we're trying to do is that we're trying to change the way people think about giving, right? We're trying to change the model. So for years, if you look at the for the for-profit versus the nonprofit sector from like the 1950s, you can go look this up. As far as growth wise, the for-profit has grown exponentially, while the nonprofit has just stayed, right? And the reason is because they're using the nonprofit has a different rule book. Now, this is not like law; these are just rules that people kind of stay on. Now, like one of the things is a lot of times with nonprofits, people don't like giving to an organization that uses their money for marketing or for whatever, right? The problem is
or a high caliber employee.
Yes,
that's only going to get it done, and you're going to pay them
exactly
incredible wage.
Right. The problem is this is what the for-profit is doing. They understand the power of marketing and leveraging somebody who puts out 10 times more than maybe just your average Joe or whatever, right? So you pay for that. They understand that. They understand the power, and that's how they're able to grow. So we're like, hey, you know what? We're going to come in. We're going to use the same tactics, the same things that entrepreneurs, business owners use, investing, and we're going to create wealth, and we're going to use that wealth to support human trafficking just for us. One of the things that I love, actually, Leslie, I have to give her credit for this. What we like to say is we're creating generational generosity. Generational wealth is like the big thing right now. We're all part of business. You listen to podcasts, or you're on your Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is, and you hear about 10xing or generational wealth, how you create generational wealth. And it's all good. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about that, but we want that too. Don't get us wrong. But we also think, what if we can create generational generosity, right? And so this is what it is. And so what this looks like. So I just want to give you guys a little taste of what this looks like. So one of our goals, if you've been around Eden for a while, you've heard us say that we're trying to raise $30 million. Now, for some of you out there, that sounds crazy. It sounded crazy to me. I promise you. But I also promise you that it's not actually that crazy. In the business world, it's not crazy, okay? But if we were able to raise $30 million based on the model that we have and based on the a working prototype with our first property, with that $30 million invested, we would actually create $480,000 cash flow profit a month. $480,000, almost $500,000 a month off that $30 million. Now, remember, if you're listening, that $30 million is not going anywhere, it's still there. So if the world's ending or whatever, the $30 million is still there. We can use it. We can give it away if we had to for whatever crazy. We wouldn't, but if we had to, we could. Still there. Now it's just creating $480,000 a month. Could you imagine what we could do in the human trafficking space? Anti-human trafficking space. The not just human trafficking, but human exploitation, everything. Modern day slavery. Could you imagine what we could do with that? That's what gets us excited. $500,000 a month that would just keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. And we're not stopping when we're done. Like, after we leave this world and spend time with Jesus, we're not ending. We're planning on handing this over to our kids. So this is going on forever. But that's our goal. And now, obviously, we're not going to stop there once we get there. But if we just stop there, that's what it would create. It's powerful stuff. Basically, using capitalism in its purest form. One of the things that we also like to say, one of our taglines, you'll hear us a lot say, is that we figured out a way for rent to change the world, because all it takes is someone to pay their rent. Like, the people that are living in our properties, they're paying their rent. Their rent is going to support human trafficking. We love generosity. We are big people on generosity. We think that generosity can change the world. not only change the world, but it's going to change you. If you start becoming generous, you may be generous already, but maybe you're not. I don't know. But what we love, we also think that generosity is contagious. The fact that there's going to be people that are just paying their rent, and their rent is supporting human trafficking organizations around the world, getting people out of slavery into freedom. I think like that's like a win-win situation.
Yeah, and for me, this is where I had that moment in Thailand where I was clear that reforming economic systems was not something that I had a skill set for, right? This was, as it's been often said, way beyond my pay grade.
Yeah. And
then this idea started happening, and I can tell you now that we are reforming economic systems because we have, right now, we have a renter who is paying their rent, but what they're actually doing, they go to work every day. They live the life that we all live, ups, downs, stress, all of it. And when they pay their rent, that money is going to support anti-trafficking work in the world. And I realized that, oh, we actually did reform an economic system. Now it's just a matter of iterating on that, right? Now it's just a matter of getting to our goal of 600 doors, 600 doors. And we need the $30 million. And that's where everyone who's listening, that's where you play a part, right? Where you recognize like, oh my gosh, I can actually play a part. And to be clear, we cannot do this alone.
Yeah.
Like it is not possible,
right?
Everything that led to this moment has already taken probably a couple of hundred people to help us get to where we are right now. And I'm excited because I thought that it was not possible that we could do this.
Right.
And then it became, oh, wait a minute, if we incorporate all of you, if we use our skill sets, actually it is possible because it's being done in the world every day. Corporations form and they solve what previously was what sounded like an impossible problem. Right? Because I would have told you 20 years ago, it is not possible for a blind person to drive. But today it is.
Almost.
I would say it is. Right? It
I'm
is.
not sitting in that.
But autonomous vehicles are making the impossible possible.
I love it.
Right? And that's where I think, Brandon, you could talk about how people can participate in
Yes.
the
So
whole 20,000.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So again, $30 million is our goal. Now, how do we get to $30 million? You may ask. Great question.
Someone could give 30 million.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody could give 30 million. But what our goal is, if we can get 20,000 people to give $25 a month for 5 years. So 20,000 people to give $25 a month for 5 years, that's $30 million. Again, like when you hear the word $30 million, it sounds huge, but 20,000 people, like to say, okay, I'm going to commit 5 years or even a year or even a month, whatever. It doesn't, one person drops out, someone else will take their place. To give $25 for 5 years, that's your 30 million right there. 20,000 people out of the 7 billion people we have in this world. And if you want to say, okay, well, maybe we're not reaching the whole world yet. Okay, so the United States, there's 300 million, 330 million people. It shouldn't be hard to find 20,000 people. So that's what we're trying to do. And what does that do? Again, remember, guys, you give an opportunity for the people that are working the front lines to dream big, to say, hey, I need a car to get people that have been trafficked. I need to get them from their house to the school, or maybe I need another building, or maybe I need somebody in the finance world to help me like figure out how to do my books because I have a heart to get people out of trafficking, but I don't know anything about finance, like you give, that's what you get to give. That's what you get to be a part of when you do that. You give them resource to live in a life that's abundant rather than scarcity, because sometimes when we get into these situations where we feel like, we're doing everything we're going full throttle 100%. Sometimes it feels like the world's against us, and sometimes it feels like there's nothing out there. Well, we want to solve that problem for them. So you could be a part of that. So that's us. And what this podcast is about is you're going to hear the stories from the people that are working on the front line. You're going to get to hear the stories of the people they work with, the things that they've gone through. you get to hear maybe their big dreams, maybe the things that they're struggling with, maybe the things that they're really excited about. So you're going to hear from Diana Batista, you're going to hear from Sheer Love, someone from Oasis House. You're going to hear from other people. Got a handful of people, and we're going to continue this going. We're going to probably put out, our goal is to put out a podcast every month, maybe twice a month. But for now, we're going to start with once a month. So our ask of you is first, number one, check us out. Go to restoringedentogether.com. Okay, so just full transparency, full disclosure is the word I'm looking for. Full disclosure. We first started, our name was Restoring Eden. But now, because we went through, we did some marketing stuff, and we're just Eden now. So our website is Restoring Eden Together. It's kind of long, restoringedentogether.com. So a lot of times people will look for us, they'll go to Eden, and there's all these other things. But if you go to restoringedentogether.com, you can see our website, you can see what we're all about.
And that's because we need each other. We
Yeah,
gotta do this together.
Yeah. We're restoring Eden together. We're all doing it together, right?
Don't look up Adam and Eve.
Yeah, exactly. You can check us out there. Check us out on social media. But also, because we're starting this podcast, it would be a huge help if you can just subscribe, like any episode that we do, tell your friends, subscribe. We want to get the word out. You can be an ambassador. We'd love for you to be an ambassador for Eden. You can be out there just telling people what we do and who we are. And if you ever have any questions or anything, you can also go to our website and email us there. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe you are an organization out there. Maybe you're thinking about starting an organization that's fighting against human trafficking. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe we can do something in the future. But we are super, super, super excited. Oh, also, maybe you have a business. If you look behind us back here, there's Talitha Coffee. They are actually a business who gives a lot. They are in the anti-human trafficking space. The percentage of the money that they get from their coffee goes to fighting human trafficking. There's human exploitation. Another organization that we've come in contact with, that we talked, they actually donated stuff to us, was Tony's Chocolates. Mm-hmm. So if you have a business and this is like, you have a heart for this, let us know. We would love to talk to you and figure something else out.
Can I add 2 things?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
So like if you were super excited about this and you're like, I want to know more about it and I want to help you guys, we do events like where we share our strategy and our plan with people. And we would, if you ever wanted to host one of those, we would love to hear from you, because we would come to where you are and host one, and you can bring all your friends and everybody you know, and we would host, and you could host the event, we would put it on. And he forgot to mention the most important thing, which is you could donate.
Yes.
We don't want to take that off the table.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, like if you want to join us financially, join us financially.
Yeah, again, 25, whatever you can give. But what I love about our model, again, I can't stress this enough because I get super excited about it, guys. The one thing is, again, even if you donate $1, that dollar becomes a forever gift, right? Now you can donate $1, you can donate $100, you can donate $100,000. It still becomes a forever gift, right? Whatever you can give, we would love to take. We don't just take and give. We generate and give. It's one of the other things we talked about. What we're trying to do right now is, if you be willing to be maybe a $25 a month giver, we would love that. Support, commit to a year, 2 years. You can give $10, you give $5, whatever you can give. We love, and we would be so thankful and grateful and excited.
And stay tuned, because there is much, much more to come.
Yes. Any final words from you guys?
We love you guys. Keep listening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.